Hi there, I'm Jeff with One Byte Technology. Today I've got a 2009 or 2010 MacBook. It was a trade-in from a customer. They bought a newer MacBook Air for me. Thank you. And the problem with this is it is not detecting the hard drive or the operating system. When we boot it up here, it eventually will go to the flashing folder with a question mark on it, which means it can't find the operating system. So there's two causes for that, really. It either can't see the hard drive or the cable that connects the hard drive to the logic board has failed. So we'll show you what that looks like. Alright, so that is flashing question mark folder. We buy a lot of broken units that were brought to Apple, and Apple told them it wasn't worth fixing or couldn't be fixed, and this is the only problem, and it is a very, very simple fix. It's not a big deal. So it's disappointing when they go and spend $1,000 on a new computer when it would cost less than $100 to fix something like this, really. I'm pulling the hard drive out. I'm going to throw in my High Sierra drive. And we'll just see if it boots. You can see that drive. So we'll know if it's the cable or the hard drive. I'm holding down the Option key. Option brings you to the boot menu. So we'll see right away if it sees this install or not. And it does. And it's loading. So it's as simple as a failed hard drive. So the next step now is I'll install a proper hard drive. Consider bumping the memory up to 8 gigs of RAM. Right now there's 4. And we will install, or attempt to install, we'll see how well this unit runs it, but the Mojave patched version from DOS Dude 1. So this unit has booted to my test drive now, which is High Sierra. I'm able to log in and everything we'll assume for now is working well. It seems to be. It is a mid-2010 model, 2.4 Core 2 Duo. It's not the best processor in the world, but with a solid-state drive and a bit of memory, these are still quite capable for day-to-day use. I'm going to shut her down, and we'll get into installing the new drive. So this unit's getting a bit of an upgrade because all I have left are 500 gig drives. So for those of you that don't know DOS Dude, call him Mister. He's a fellow down in the US who has built a patched installer for unsupported Macs so that we can install Mojave or Catalina on older machines that Apple decided they didn't want us to. So big thanks to Colin. Oh, that's a scary noise from that drive I put in, so I'll have to check the health on it. I'm going to boot into it first. Alright, so I had to switch the first drive that I put in there because it was screaming at me. So I've put it in different now. I booted, I held Option to get to the boot menu here, and I'm booting to my USB. So creating the USB is for a different video, but if you want to check out how to do that or try it yourself on an older machine, if you just Google DOS Dude 1, it'll bring you to his website, and he's got instructions on there. It's pretty straightforward. All right, so we're booted into the Mojave patch install, which looks similar to every other installer, except we've got this utilities menu on the left here. To start, we need to open up Disk Utility. I'm going to select my internal drive here, hit erase. We'll let that do its thing. Yeah, that one was quick. I can quit disk utility, open up terminal. We need to check the date that this unit is registering. So you type in date into terminal, and the date is registered as March 25th, 2020, which is today. Yep, that's today. So if I continue here into the installer, continue, agree, select my drive and hit continue, it's going to start the install. All right, so it says, if you can read that, Mac OS could not be installed on your computer. No packages were eligible for install. Contact software manufacturer for assistance and quit and try again. And if you try this again over and over again, it's not going to work. The reason this doesn't work is because I created my Mojave installer, the USB, sometime before this fall. And the date on that installer expires at some point between then and now. So I have to open up terminal and set the date on this computer to before September. I set it back to January 1st, 2019, and that works. So unfortunately, I have to reboot this machine, log back into the installer, and do this again after I've reset the date. So we'll run through that. All right, so we're loaded back into the install, opening up terminal. So this is a very common issue with a lot of installs. You'll get that problem. I'm not sure if it happens using Apple's internet recovery, but if it does happen, this is what you have to do. You have to set the date. Often it's because the date of the unit, if the unit was dead and the battery was totally drained, the date was set to something like 2001. I've seen that. So if you enter date and hit enter, it'll show you the date that's showing on this computer. So in order to set the date, you have to put in date, space, and then I just always do 01, which is the day, 01 of the month, and then the time, 1200, so noon, and then the year. So I'm putting 19. Hit enter, and it shows the date, so Tuesday, January 1st, 12 o'clock, 2019, and that should do it for me. I'm going to quit terminal and then go through my install again, and it should continue at this point. So we'll let this run and we'll come back shortly. Okay, so this unit finished the first part of the install, and it reboots to this, the no entry symbol, and then eventually it'll shut down. So at this point, we have to restart it again, hold Option, and we need to boot back into the Mojave installer and run the post-patch install. All right, so back inside the installer here on this Utilities menu on the left, we go into macOS Post Install. So this opens up a window. It says choose your MacBook model, and the detected model shows up right underneath that. So this one is a MacBook 7,1. So MacBook 7,1, you just have to pick the one that it's detected, select the volume, which is our hard drive, Macintosh HDD, and hit patch. Okay, so when that finishes, it says here reboot. It says complete, so I'm going to hit reboot. And it's going to restart, apply those patches so that the unit will run on Mojave. Alright, so the installer just finished. We're going to go through this process, turn on Wi-Fi. Alright, so it's done the setup process. It's going to bring us to the desktop next. So we'll see how this runs on Mojave. I did not end up installing extra RAM for now. So it's just got 4 gigs and a standard hard drive. So you'll notice, it might be hard to see here, when we're selecting these menus, you can see it's quite a dark gray. The colors don't show up properly at first. So there's a patch updater here that's got some patches on it. So we'll install those. And we'll see afterwards, after these are done, everything looks as it should. Alright, so the patches have applied. It wants me to restart. Okay, so logging in. It's not too bad. You can see the menus look good now, as they should. And here she is, 13-inch, mid-2010, MacBook, 2.4, Core 2 Duo with 4 gigs of RAM, running Mojave. If we open up Safari here, it's pretty average. So I'd say this unit is okay to run it as is. It's not laggy, graphics look good and clean. So thanks again to Colin Mister for providing that patch. And this unit now can live another several years being used and fully up to date. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.